interesting from the public's point of view. Don't you think so?
With regard to...
Well, that defeat yesterday, rather extraordinary. Unfortunately, it's rather difficult to say whether it was a government policy or whether it was some policy from somewhere else. What's your view on it? Was it a policy from government or...?
Let's remember that the state strategic plan, which the states approved, included as one of its priority reform of government. There are two, or you could say three elements to that. There's the reform of the public service, which government is leading on. There's the reform of the electoral process, which the privileges and procedures have been leading on, and they gave that work to the Electoral Commission to do. We know the work that they did. They worked solidly for 9 months. They came up with interim proposals, then final proposals. They were put out to referendum, and they always had to come back to the states for approval or not. And yesterday, I suppose I feel rather disappointed that the states decided that actually they weren't prepared to support those proposals, and yet at the same time a number of states members said they still wanted to see reform. So I think we can take heart from that. The difficulty is going to be, as we've known all along, getting proposals that we could build a consensus around and that you could get enough votes in the states for.
But for simplicity, was that a defeat for a government policy yesterday?
I don't believe it was.
No.
It was a defeat for the proposals that the Electoral Commission had brought forward.
Right. So the states, because there's a little bit of doubt, and I must say I'm having some trouble with it. I know it was an issue that was raised in the past by Senator Rosen and so on, about what is the government. The states is the government.
No, the government is the executive. If you look around the world, the states is the legislature. It delegates power to the executive, and the executive is the Council of Ministers.
There's ongoing work yet to come about the role of the Chief Minister and the powers that has. That presumably will carry on.
That indeed will carry on, and some were saying yesterday that they feel now that can have extra focus because they know that the states has decided it didn't want to go for option B, and therefore we work with that piece of work on the assumption that the states remains the same. I'm not so sure that that's the case, actually. I think we can keep working on that, the reform of the machinery of government, which actually I've instructed my officers to work on. They've been working on that, and also there's a subcommittee from PPC working on that. And when we met a couple of weeks ago, it was sort of decided that those two strands of work could be brought together.
It would be a lot of work, I know, but would it not be possible to bring the whole thing back as one big package of reform so people can see the whole implications of it? In other words, the role of the Chief Minister, the government state, the states itself, the way the states is constituted, the role of the bailiff, these sort of things. Couldn't they all come back as one big package?
I'm not sure they could. It's a nice idea, but we know from the past that when that's happened, the states haven't approved that either. So it's trying to look to some extent, yes, they do all fit together and they all need to work together, but equally I think it's trying to look at, well, where's there an issue that needs to be addressed? There is certainly one with regard to the responsibilities of the Chief Minister and how ministerial government is working. That needs to change. There's the issue about the number of states members and the mandate upon which they are elected, and there's many people that believe that needs to change as well.
I know you've got to get into the states about to start, but nibbling at it bit by bit doesn't seem to come up with the right answer, does it? I mean, somehow or other, even if there was a strategic plan for the overall reform of the whole package, bring the items, the individual bits back as you can, but it would be nice to know where we're going on this, wouldn't it?
It would, and sadly this morning it's a little too early to say where we're going, because if we look back to history, we had the Clothier report. That was exactly as you've just said, a combined package. It dealt with the machinery of government, it dealt with ministerial government, it dealt with the electoral mandate as well. It was a combined package. That was taken in parts and approved. and you could argue that we've been struggling ever since with the issues that weren't addressed when we took some of the clothier proposals.
If the three MPs who were over here just a couple of weeks ago were in the States yesterday, what do you think they might have made of the proceedings?
I think they'd have seen that it was democracy in action. You had a broad range of political views voting in different directions. There are lots of things that we can be proud of with regard to Jersey's independent political process, and sometimes that independence of mind means that it can be difficult to build consensus, and yesterday we saw that that consensus hadn't been built, but we must commit ourselves to building a consensus so that we can see reform.
So not a resignation issue as far as you're concerned?
Absolutely not.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.